It is so wonderful. I'm not going
at
to
this
lie.
hour?
I had like a long weekend at this point.
Yeah, right. How do you know? First encounter, it's not going to work out.
It's usually the smile that people give. It's either a genuine one because they're actually happy to see you, or you can sort of see, this is put on.
Sometimes it's whether or not a person can be on time.
EWN Sport.
A very good morning to you, Anthony Teixeira. Let's talk about the Vancouver Sevens.
Yeah, pretty amazing stuff from the Blitzboks as they won the Vancouver Sevens after thrashing Spain 38-12 in this morning's final. The South Africans beat Australia 19-12 in the semis overnight, while Spain shocked Fiji, which means that the Blitzboks have won their third series of the season and also moved to the top of the overall table. Here's the head coach, Philip Snyman.
The first couple of games, I think, we weren't as clinical as one would have liked, but the effort from game one up until the last one, I think as the tournament progressed, we became more clinical and we used our opportunities, so really proud of them. And I think one of the best performances I've seen in a long time from the Springbok Sevens.
Well, in the 15s games, Six Nations rugby threw out two major surprises on the weekend, with Scotland beating France and then Italy winning for the first time ever against England. England's loss means that they've dropped to 6th in the world rankings behind Argentina. In the Nedbank Cup, Durban City beat Golden Arrows on penalty to go to the semi-finals, while TS Galaxy beat Jacks Spears 2-0. On Saturday, Sekhukhune United and Amazulu were knocked out by Milford and Casrick Stars respectively, while in the FA Cup, League One side Port Vale shocked Sunderland 1-0. Southampton beat Fulham 1-0. Leeds through after a 3-0 victory over Norwich. India are your champions again of the T20 Cricket World Cup after a massive 96-run victory over New Zealand for their third T20 title. Man of the match, Brumma, once again stood up and took 4 for 15 as the Kiwis struggled to chase down that massive 256. Samson was the damager with his 89. Here's Indian captain Yadav.
And it was a good game, obviously, playing at home. Definitely when we wake up tomorrow, it will be a special feeling. Whatever happened in the last 2 years, post 2024 T20 World Cup until today, I think it was unbelievable. And the feeling, I think, currently, I don't know how do I share it, but it has been a wonderful journey.
Well, in case you missed it, George Russell won the season-opening Formula One Australian Grand Prix ahead of Mercedes teammate Kimi Antonelli, with the Ferraris of Charles Leclerc and Hamilton third and fourth. Defending champ Lando Norris came fifth, and Verstappen, who started from the back of the grid, finished in sixth. And home favourite Oscar Piastri was out before even the race started as he spun out on his sighting lap. And in golf, England's Dan Bradbury won his second Joburg Open title. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz
On 702.
Uncle Bongani, my name's Willie. I'm 10 years old. I go to law school from Riebeck Park, and I want to be an accountant when I'm older, and I'm so excited to play the Whiz Quiz with you.
Will you be able to count the 10,000 Rand? Oratile, I suspect you will.
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
EWN
It's a 6:45. The CWN Traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. The slow traffic in the Boksburg area. Amor, what's going on?
That's correct, Bongani. Roadworks are taking place along the N17 towards Roundabout Road. Please be on the lookout there. They are causing about a 20-minute hold-up towards the Roundabout turn off. While traveling in Germiston, we've got more delays on the N3 North. That's due to peak time pressure at this time of the morning. This is between the Elands Interchange and Van Buren Road. Please be on the lookout there. And if you are traveling in the city of Tshwane, there's still moving traffic along the R80 East Mabopane Highway. This is just as you head towards Eskom-Pakele exit. And then in Hermanstadt, another accident, more delays reported. This is due to an accident at Van der Hof as you approach Eskom-Pakele turnoff. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You know that feeling when someone lets you cut in during peak traffic? Well, that's how good it feels to see Outsurance pointsmen on your route, eh? Everyone feels the difference when the Outsurance pointsmen are on the roads, and they've been easing traffic congestion so we can all get to where we need to be quickly and safely for 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Part of the 702 family.
Hi, my name is Linda. I'm from Bel-Air's Park. I'm a 702 lander, big fan of all the shows, and I'm definitely listening today, and I'll definitely be listening tomorrow.
Welcome to our 702 family. Let's walk the talk.
On the go and your stomach suddenly not keeping up, that burn, bloating, or reflux could be symptoms of an ulcer. Stress can make it feel even worse. Ulcernic offers triple action relief by coating your stomach lining with a protective layer and works up to 6 hours. No prescription is needed. You can choose between suspension, tablets, or effervescent tablets. Keep an eye on the shelf for Ulcernic new packaging. A fresh new look outside, same trusted relief on the inside. Visit the Ulcernic Facebook page for more.
Switching to Outsurance business insurance was a quick process. I saved a lot of money.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium when you switch? For boutique hotels, catering companies, and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance business insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
Hey, Bongani, it's arrogance. It's arrogant. You know, when you meet someone for the very first time, at first it's difficult to tell whether they are arrogant or it's just their personality. But when you can see that there is no compassionate, if I may put it that way, and you're like, you know what, maybe this is not going to work. If someone is arrogant, on your very first time you interact, you should know that you have a problem.
When do you know? Upon a first meeting, it's just not going to work out.
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
Let's play the Whiz Quiz. You must be aged 10 to 13 to play, and 10,000 Rand is up for grabs. 100 bucks for each correct answer. Get them all correct in 60 seconds. You win 10,000 Rand. Uarabile is our 10-year-old contestant today who wants to be an accountant. Uarabile, is there anyone you want to say hello to this morning who may be listening?
Yes. My parents.
Oh, are you in the car? Are you at school already, or are you still at home?
I'm in the car.
You are in the car, and are both your parents there?
Yes.
Okay, well, good luck to you. I'm sure they will be rooting for you. Your parents, Uarabile?
Yes.
Okay, let's go. KG, start the clock. Motel is a combination of motor and which other word?
Hotel.
Correct. What is 100 divided by 10?
10.
Correct. What is the name of the fairy in Peter Pan?
Tinkerbell.
Correct. Complete the saying, curiosity killed the what?
Cat.
Correct. True or false, South Africa has 3 capitals?
True.
Correct. Which ocean is off the coast of Durban? Pacific Ocean or Indian Ocean?
Indian.
Correct. In which sport is the trophy called the FIFA Women's World Cup?
Soccer.
Correct. True or false, the prefix bio in biology means life?
True.
Correct. The expression ATM means automated teller what?
Machine.
Correct. Spell the word. Oh, and we just ran out of time. You answered everything correctly. Everything correctly, Uarabile, except for that last one. And that means you walk away with 900 Rand. 9 correct answers. 900 Rand is what you win. Very, very well done. Uarabile wants to be an accountant a little later on in life. I reckon she's going to do well. You're aged 10 to 13 and you want to play the Whiz Quiz? Send us a voice note and we could be calling you.
The brainy kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions.
Your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
All right, the big story, of course, this morning is that Iran has appointed a new supreme leader. But as the war gathers apace in the Middle East, we have to ask some questions. Is power in the world now determined purely by strength? Is might now the only right? And what will it mean if any country powerful enough can simply attack or invade another and the international community says nothing? Or even if they condemn the action but can do nothing? Our next guest articulates answers to these and more. How are we to respond if the rules-based order is gone? And what should South Africa's position in that shifting world be? What does acting in our interest even mean in this new reality? TK Pooe is Associate Professor, Statecraft and Policy at the African School of Governance and a visiting lecturer at the Wits School of Governance, and joins us now. A pleasure to have you on our show. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thanks for having me.
We're speaking, of course, on the back of a really thoughtful piece in the Sunday Times yesterday. And I want to ask you a couple of questions that I've really been grappling with for a little while now. Let's go back to the end of the Second World War. I mean, my daughter's in grade 11, and it's extraordinary that we've been sort of going through these things. I've been helping her with her history. But following the tyranny of Nazi Germany, arguably Imperial Japan, the world agreed never again. That's why we set up the UN. That's why we spoke of an international rules-based order. But did it turn out to be a mirage?
Look, I think it was hope, as you correctly frame it. It was hope, but it's always important to ask the context. Where was the rest of the world? And at that time, it was the time where decolonization was occurring. And if you look at one of the major powers in that position, it was China. And China always had a very, I'd put it a standoffish relationship with this idea that the world is now becoming better and that never again. And I think sometimes we tend to forget that one and simply put ourselves within this history. And it makes sense for a country like South Africa. You have to remember the precursor to the United Nations. South Africa was a huge part of it, the League of Nations. Here you speak about people like General Smuts. So South Africa, owing to our history, is that we've always gone hurtling into believing these things, but I don't think we've critically assessed it to say, listen, what does it really mean for the rest of the world, especially the African globe? So sometimes, yes, I wouldn't say a full mirage. I think it was the hope that promised something. And one can always say, especially in people like President Mbeki, and during that time, it was a very good expression of it. But the reality has not always delivered.
Yeah, I was about to push back and say it was the hope, but many powerful countries, most notably the US, have continued to invade and attack others with impunity. I mean, you can almost go back to every decade following the Second World War, and there's usually some attack or another, some action by the US. And so I have to ask you, did the system then of checking power ever really work?
No, I'd say no, because you're correct in saying if you go to, especially even after World War II, you go straight to Vietnam. So clearly it didn't work.
Korea before then.
Exactly, in Korea before then. So maybe the way to put it is to say, how do you make it work for yourself? And that's probably been the bigger question which countries like South Africa and the Global South have, except for countries like obviously China and others, have not necessarily been good at answering. The key question of saying, you need to make this work for yourself. When you make it work for yourself, then it's a different point in case. But at the moment, as I said in my article, I don't think Trump is anything unique. He's just simply, one might say, maybe a more vulgar expression of how it's kind of showing up how it really works, especially if you don't have an economic basis on which you can actually move from.
I'll come back to our positioning in a moment, but then if we agree that it perhaps didn't check power as much as was hoped, whatever vestiges were working, are you suggesting then that even with a pretense of following the rules, that is now quickly fading, but there's no alternative yet to replace it?
Yes, at the moment there is no alternative. Look, I'd look at one of the few apparatuses which was working, especially at the point of trade, the World Trade Organization, the ability for smaller countries to be able to say, listen, we can't compete with you, but there's certain things we can complain about. But over the last 10 years, remember, even this is during Biden's time, it has not been working. And there's been a key deadlock which says, how do we move forward now? And it's really just exposed the fact that we don't know We know it's dying. We just don't know what's yet to replace it. And that's almost the curious position we find ourselves in, which is to say, there's no problems. I think people don't have no problems admitting it's not working. It's just that maybe that fear we have to ask what comes next, and the fact that we might not have the answer right now, and that's what makes it a bit scary.
I mean, in a world that increasingly now seems as if might is the only right, how do we position ourselves? You mentioned Thabo Mbeki earlier. We've come from a place where we saw ourselves as a kind of moral voice on the global stage. We were drawing on how we ended apartheid, that negotiated settlement. There was the figure of Nelson Mandela. There was the Rainbow Nation. All of that we thought could allow us to punch above our weight. But it would seem to me all of those values at this moment, no one cares.
I'll be a bit controversial, if you don't mind. I think you do not build a foreign policy, you do not build national interests on the niceties of life. What happened in 1994 was for us, and we know it was important because, yes, it had a lot of global context within it. But I always make the point, it was a very much, to coin a phrase, a very much a South Africa first situation. It's not as though South Africans, who, especially as African and Black South Africans, were enjoying what they were living in. There was always resistance. There was always struggle. Now that the rest of the world woke up to it, well, it was good for them to wake up. But in truth, most South Africans always knew it was a wrong thing. But you do not build a foreign policy. You do not build your framework on that. And I think the problem is we lived in that. We lagged in that moment forever. There was never, now with the exception, again, we have to give him his credit, with the exception of President Mbeki saying, okay, look, we need to make Africa the next big context. But again, you can't make Africa the next big context without understanding that home is not doing very well. So for me, and I think this is not something new, it's what other big countries have done or countries that are middle powers do. You simply make sure that, listen, your home architecture works. So the issue we have, and in my article, I call it political creative destruction, is we have simply just gone so far off the reserve in the sense that things do not work, that we're stuck in what we don't know in South Africa. We are obsessed with what does a post-ANC South Africa look like, because we don't know what a post-South Africa ANC was meant to look like in the first place. And because we're stuck in that quagmire, we are failing to understand that for us, the big context is the Southern African region. If you look at where SADC is in comparison to the rest of, I'd say, the rest of Africa, we're in the worst position historically we've ever been in. And I think that's the struggle for me. That's the architecture we need to be focusing on. Namely, how do we improve SADC in such a situation? And I'm going to be very blank about this. How do we improve it in such a way that South Africa needs to be, I don't want to say control, but needs to be leading SADC for its own good?
Well, we're either the big dog in the neighborhood, or somebody's puppy. If you look ahead 5 or 10 years, what would smart South African statecraft look like?
One, you need to merge DIRCO and the DTIC. It makes no sense. We don't have economic statecraft in South Africa at the moment. DIRCO we simply send diplomats overseas. We do niceties. We've not had at what's termed an idea which says, listen, when our private sector companies go overseas, we go hand in hand with them. In the same way, when the Americans are coming here under Trump and others, they tell you what they want. It's based upon their government's back and their private sector innovation. We don't do that. We need to do that in SADC. We need to be asking, how do we merge certain state-owned entities such that we can make heavy infrastructural investment into SADC? And 3, we need a military that is updated. I know people, it's going to seem a bit like contradictory, but here's the thing. National interest and international relations is not about morals. And I think sometimes South Africans, we get caught up in our superior morality, forgetting the fact that this is not about morals. It's not about right or wrong. It's about, can you deliver? And and I always say this, because one is working on the continent, you feel South Africa's absence. And the fact that our military is known to have basically been underserved, we can't do anything. So I would say, 1, merge DIRCO and DTIC. 2, make sure that the private sector and the public sector really do go hand in hand onto the continent, especially the region, and make sure state-owned entities, especially the ones that are involved in heavy infrastructure development, are made prominent throughout the whole of Southern Africa. 3, we need our military to be working.
Yeah.
And 4, and this is probably the critical one, and it's something we all know, and I think you always ask the right political elite, is look, why aren't things working in South Africa? And we need to stop making excuses. There are certain people that should not be in certain strategic positions. And until we are probably more methodical about that, we are going to be stuck in this quagmire while the world moves on, because the world will move on. That's the one thing we have to be real about. The unfortunate thing is...
Yeah, we know we've run out of time. Appreciate your perspectives there. But as I say, you're either the big dog in the neighborhood or you'll be somebody's puppy.
702.
Coming up, the big interview.
That was TK Pooe, Associate Professor of Statecraft and Policy at the Wits School of Governance. Up next, a harrowing story. A 12-year-old boy goes missing and the family says they've been left all alone with little assistance from the authorities, and they want answers.
This is EWN.
A services seater is in trouble for paying rent on an empty office space, and the health minister repeats that sanitary products are safe to use. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The Education, Training and Development Practices SETA has come under fire after allegations of a 15 million rand tender scandal. An office space which has not been used for more than a year is at the center of the saga. It's understood the tender was granted despite an occupancy paper that was supposed to be submitted during the procurement process. Higher Education Minister Bongani Bingwa has now launched an investigation, instructing his department to release a report urgently. Jabuli Lembata reports.
In 2024, the Education, Training and Development Practices SETA put out a tender for an office space. The SETA oversees training in schools, universities and community centers. The winning candidate of the tender was found to have missing documents, including an occupancy certificate, which is required to state that the building is safe, has fire precautions, and that it is structurally sound. The staff members were unable to make use of the office, while rent of 15 million rand was somehow spent by the SETA. When an internal investigation into the tender process began, it alleged its acting CEO Nogukanya Mafahla stopped the probe. Higher Education Minister Bongani Bingwa says the allegations raise concerns of governance, building compliance, and the implications for misuse of public funds. Jabuli Lembata, Eyewitness News.
The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry will make a ruling today on whether controversial businessman and ANC backer Suleiman Karim will testify behind closed doors. Last Friday, Karim made an in-camera application citing security risks to his life and family. Karim has been accused by previous witnesses of meddling with confidential business and receiving kickbacks from the irregular 360 million rand SAPS tender that was awarded to suspected crime boss Vusmuzi Ketmatlala. Tabiso Goba reports.
Since the Madlanga Commission began its work, Suleiman Karim has been its most litigious witness. Karim first challenged his subpoena to testify at the High Court and lost. He then successfully applied to have his testimony postponed by a month and now is seeking to testify in camera and virtually from an undisclosed location. However, evidence leader Adila Hassim is opposing the application. She says the Commission can protect him.
In light of the threats received, the Commission could better protect the witness in other ways, not through an in-camera application.
Karim is scheduled to testify today and tomorrow. Tabiso Goba, Eyewitness News.
The Health Department has reassured the public that sanitary products remain safe to use despite trace chemicals being detected in some brands. Briefing the media in Pretoria, Health Minister Arun Motsoaledi says endocrine disrupting chemicals found in some of the products pose a very small health risk as long as they stay within approved safety limits. His remarks follow a study by the University of the Free State, which published its study last month. The research tested some brands and found small amounts of these chemicals. While the research suggested that the products could be a previously overlooked source of exposure, Motsoaledi emphasizes that such chemicals are commonly found in everyday environments.
Previous published studies have confirmed that small amounts of these endocrine disruptors are present in menstrual health products. The presence of endocrine disrupting substances have been known for over 100 years. And if I have to be precise, they were identified in the early 20s. So it means it's 106 years since that.
And Bahrain says an Iranian drone attack on the island of Sitra has injured 32 people overnight as Gulf nations reported new attacks, with Tehran praising its retaliatory strikes across the region. All of the people who were injured were Bahraini residents and citizens, and there were 4 serious cases, including children. Several explosions were also heard on Monday in the Qatari capital Doha, while Saudi Arabia and Kuwait also reported new attacks. Gulf countries have borne much of Tehran's response after the United States and Israel launched a massive air campaign against Iran on the 28th of February. Iran has warned that the Islamic Republic will be forced to respond against its neighbors if their territory is used to attack it. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi spoke to NBC News.
It is Americans who started this war against us, attacking us, and we are defending ourselves. So it is obvious that our missiles cannot reach the U.S. soil. What we can do is to attack American bases and American installations around us, which are unfortunately in the soils of our neighborly countries.
Gold is trading at $5,089.57 an ounce. The rand is at 16.86 to the dollar, 22.43 to the pound, 19.44 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $116.02 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got an accident on the N1 North reported right near the Rodiport off ramp, Albertina Sisulu. It's causing delays coming out of the N17. Please be on the lookout there while traveling on the N3 North. We still have got queuing traffic between the Geldnes interchange and Van Buren Road. That's due to peak time delays.
And in your sport, Blitzboks claimed the Vancouver Sevens title. Durban City and TS Galaxy joined Milford and Casrick Stars in the Nedbank Cup semi-finals, while there were FA Cup wins for Port Vale, Sunderland and Southampton. And India are your T20 World Cup winners as they picked up a massive 96-run victory over New Zealand in the final.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. Johannesburg is at a low of 11 degrees, peaking at 22. Pretoria, 12 and 25. Vereniging, 12 as well, and a high of 24 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, the Education, Training and Development Practices SETA has come under fire after allegations of a 15 million rand tender scandal.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
9 minutes after 7 o'clock, we're keeping an eye on the oil price. That's certainly going to be the big story of the week. By some estimates, it could rise as high as the 140s. So that obviously will have an impact on a whole lot that we will be experiencing in South Africa. But around the world, concerns are being raised about the amounts of money that are being spent on the conflict. Something close to $1 billion a day. Just imagine what the world could do with $1 billion. That's exactly the point that's been made by the UN's humanitarian chief, Tom Fletcher, who says this is all deeply troubling. We're spending money on humans killing each other instead of saving each other.
We're seeing staggering amounts of money, reportedly $1 billion a day, funding this war, spent on destruction, while politicians continue to boast about cutting aid budgets for those in greatest need. And it breaks my heart that this is being spent on this conflict rather than dealing with the existing huge humanitarian caseload. We've lost our bearings somehow in the world.
It comes, of course, in the wake of what's going on in the Middle East. And you wonder whether people learn from history or not. And that's why an important conversation such as we had with TK Pooe is necessary. We've got to learn from the mistakes of the past. One person whom you might argue has not learned is Tony Blair, the former British Prime Minister, who is arguing that the current incumbent at number 10, Keir Starmer, should have supported the Americans from the start. Remember, Starmer was a little hesitant as to how much the Brits could join this effort. Since then, Donald Trump has criticized Keir Starmer. Listen to the UK Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper explaining why they didn't help.
Well, the job of the British Prime Minister is to take decisions in the UK national interest, not in the interests of any other country, but in the UK's national interest. That's what Keir Starmer has done every step of the way, both in terms of the initial decision not to be involved in those initial strikes that took place, and also in the decision to provide defensive support when we see Iranian strikes on partner countries where British citizens are residing. Those are decisions in the UK's national interest, and it won't surprise you that obviously we don't agree with President Trump on every issue.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
12 after 7. What you need to know, of course, at this hour, President Cyril Ramaphosa paying tribute to U.S. civil rights leader, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, during his homecoming ceremony, his funeral, in other words, in Chicago this weekend. And our current president, I mean, he's got many talents. I don't think he'll go down as the greatest orator we've ever had. But boy, oh boy, do go online and look for President Ramaphosa's tribute honoring the life and legacy of Jesse Jackson. I think it's one of his better speeches that I have heard in a really, really long time. It's up there with his Tumamina moment. I just thought Cyril Ramaphosa was absolutely on point this weekend, giving tribute at the homecoming ceremony. That's what they're calling it, of Jesse Jackson in Chicago. Here's a snippet.
We, the people of the Rainbow Nation that you, Jesse Jackson, helped to build, salute you, and we say power to you. But we also say, rise, African Jesse Jackson, rise. And we say, rest, African Jesse Jackson, and thank you, we thank you eternally for your support for our struggle. Thank you to all of you. Thank you.
Closing out a powerful speech. Perhaps wasn't the best of it, but it really is a fantastic tribute given by President Ramaphosa. At that same ceremony, of course, was the powerful American singer Jennifer Hudson delivering a powerful music tribute to Jesse Jackson.
Just like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long, a long time coming, but I know change gonna come.
Change is gonna come. Wasn't that the theme of Jesse Jackson's life, mission, and work? I love Jennifer Hudson as a powerful gospel singer. I think this idea of making her into another Whitney Houston never worked. She's at her best when she's singing these kinds of songs that stir the soul and move you to thinking about, I don't know, the higher aims, the higher goals. What did Shakespeare call it? The milk of human kindness. Talking of music, on this day in 2019, Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 with their hit song, Shallow.
702. Up next,
The Big Interview.
EWN Traffic.
The 7:15, peak hour delays everywhere and a crash on the N1 North. Amo?
Yeah, that's correct, Bongani. As you head towards Rodibot, this accident is right near the New Canada Bridge, so please be on the lookout there. It's causing about a 15-minute hold-up coming out of the N17 while traveling in Sandton, or rather Melrose. We've got another accident reported on the Mark 1 North. This one happened right after the Corlett Drive exit. It's also slowing down traffic, and there's also slow-moving traffic along the N1 South yourself heading towards Four Ways. This is just as you come out of Rivonia Road towards Winnie Mandela Drive. Please be on the lookout there and drive with care. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. 702.
The Big Interview
with Bongani Bingwa.
16 after 7. It was a Thursday like any other, and little Sanele just wanted to go and play outside. He was a boy loved and known by the whole neighborhood. He was a little slow and speech was difficult, but he was that special needs child everyone welcomed into their homes. They saw past his difficulties because he was such a sweet child. So he would regularly visit friends and always, though, find his way back home. 2 weeks ago, he went to play with his friends, as usual, a few houses away. But this time, he didn't come back. His devastated mother says, "I looked everywhere. I think I traveled the whole of Orange Farm looking for him, but I couldn't find him. I searched from 1:45 until I lost all strength at about 4 when I realized I'd looked everywhere but was failing to find him. I asked people in the community if they'd seen him, but nobody had. The neighborhood began searching. The police were told. And then, some days later, his body, beaten, bruised, and burnt, was found in a ditch, lifeless. He was just 12 years old. And now the family want to know why. His devastated mother couldn't speak to us, but has agreed for her sister, Feziwe, the boy's aunt, to tell us their story. Feziwe joins us now on the line. Feziwe, very good morning to you, and thank you for speaking to us at what must be a really difficult time for you and your family.
Good morning, Pakati. Good morning, Rachel.
Who was Sanele? Tell us about him. How special was he to you?
Sanele ngumntaka bhuti wami uzalwa ngo-2013. Sanele uzalwa engumntana okhubazekileyo, umntwana ozwayo but engenaso ispeech. Nokuhamba kwakhe ebengahambi as normal njengabanye abantwana behamba njengabanye abantu, ebehamba ngenzwane. Umntwana ozithandayo kakhulu, nothanda uhamba njengoba ekhula njena. Ebengumntana special to us because ebengumntana esimthandayo, owenza izinto apha endlini, uyabona, enza izinto ezingenziwayo ngabanye abantwana because utatakhe mayebuya emsebenzini beseluku emkhawulela. Andazi besazi kanjani ukuthi utatakhe uyafika ngexesha.
Yeah. Just for our English-speaking listeners, Feziwe, I'm going to try to translate what you are saying, but you're just saying that he was just a loving child. He obviously had special needs. He struggled to speak, but he loved his family. He loved his father. He would always, go and meet his father when he would come back from work. He was just a child who was full of love. And
so,
yeah.
So izinto sesaziqaphela ngayo ukuthi unezinto azenzayo njengoba angakhona ukuthetha, nokuthi utatakhe mhlawumbe xa efikile athathe iphesi katatakhe angathatha ama-coins into bese lokho siyihleka leyo, ayothatha imali le izinotsi ahambe ayozithengela into ayifunayo, asikudanga apha eshop, abuye nama-noodles, into nje izinto ne-coke eyithanda kakhulu. Uzawuza nale coke ke nezi-noodles apheke lokho azitya azigqibe. Thanda ulala ebhedini, ungumntana uthanda ubheka phezulu, uzawufika ke apha ebhedini angene nefowuni. Ifowuni, uke wafumana ifowuni, uzawumane esmayila ecofa le phone, esimane ecofa le phone, acofa le phone, egibela
Hold on, Feziwe, let me just explain. Remember, I have to translate what you're now saying. You're just saying basically he was a bit playful. He loved cool drinks. He loved to play with the phone. Bit of a naughty side to him as well, I suspect, from what you're saying. But Feziwe, just take us back to that Thursday when he went missing. What happened that day?
On Thursday, umama ke egqiba umgeza as usual. Uye waphuma uSanele, waphuma wahamba. Umama ke in 5 minutes time wafonela apho uSanele wenze iWhatsApp. Apho uSanele athanda uya khona because kunemizi emithathu ayithandayo uya kuyo. Wafonela ke lo omnye wathi ke ngokulosisi lo, no ulapha uSanele ngiceba mkhupha ngegate mkhawulele.
All right. Let me just translate that bit. So what you're saying is, on that Thursday, his mom gave him a bath. He then went to one of the neighbors, as he always did.
No, uye wenza iWhatsApp call.
Hold on, Feziwe, hold on. I'm just saying what you said. Just hold on. You're saying his mom gave the boy a bath. Then Sanele went to go and play at a neighbor's house, as he always did. His mom checked with that neighbor to see if indeed he had gone there. And the neighbor said, oh, yes, he was here. He's now on his way home. You can meet him on the way. That's what you said, right?
Yes.
And then what happened?
And then umama ke ngokwahlala walinda umntwana wapheka umntwana akathi ukubuya bangekabuyi namhlanje.
So mom waited and waited and waited, and he never came back.
Wayombheka umbheka andithi ebethe makamkhawulele umntana maye ngibona ukuthi abe umntana kazeli wahamba wombheka kule mizi aqhaluya kuyo wambheka nakwezindawo aqala uhamba kuzo.
So she went looking for him at the normal houses that he visits, went to go see at the neighbors, and still he wasn't found.
Wahamba wayofuna nakule ndawo azeke adlale kuyo.
Okay.
Akamfumana wafuna until kwathi kwabetha abo 4 wakhathala wabheka police station ke ngoku uyoreporta a missing child.
So she spent the afternoon looking for him at all the usual places until she got tired, and then eventually went to the police to go report a missing child. What did the police say?
Amapolice athathe i-statement, and then after bayithathe i-statement babeza bakhangela ke ubusuku obo yonke that afternoon kwade kwasebusuku bekhangela ingakumbi kulaa ndawo athanda udlalela kuyo.
All right, so the police took a statement and eventually came to look, help with the family, help look for him everywhere until it got late and still nobody could find him. All right, and then what happened, Feziwe?
And then emveni koko sabuya babuya besendlini alala on Friday bavuka baya eThetha FM uma baya eThetha FM elapolice abelisebenza le case leza ekseni ngesisikhathi bangekho, and then bathi lathi lizobuya zange liphinde libuye.
All right, so they went to a local radio station trying to spread the word. The officer was looking at the case, said he would come back, and he never did. I understand, Feziwe, at some point, somebody phoned the family and said, in fact, they had the boy with them? Tell us about that.
Okay. It was on Monday. It was on Monday. Esibhedlele ebhara beyucheka ukuthi umntana ngabakho esibhedlele or emoshwari nabo bafumana i-WhatsApp call lo muntu esithi please ufonela lo muntu nguye ophethe umntwana wakho.
All right, so on the Monday, boy goes missing on Thursday. By Monday, the family goes to Baragwanath Hospital to see if he might be there. They go to mortuaries, they're looking everywhere. And then they get a WhatsApp call from someone saying they know who had the boy.
WhatsApp note. SMS. WhatsApp. Ethi phonela this number.
All right. So they get a WhatsApp message saying here's a number to phone if you want to find the boy.
Wamnikeza ifone number ukuthi makafonele lo muntu nguye ophethe umntwana wakhe.
And did you phone?
Bathi uthe engeka WhatsApp engeka phone usisi loya muntu othuphethe umntwana wa WhatsApp wathi makasende usisi i-location ufuna uletha umntwana. Akanguye umbulali yena uthunyiwe nje ukuthi lo mntana makambulale and uyambona lo mntana ukuthi akangomntana akekho right.
Whoa. So you get this WhatsApp saying, here's a phone number to phone if you want to get the child back. And before a phone call is made, you then get another message from someone saying he has the boy and he's been asked to kill the boy, but he doesn't want to kill the boy.
Akafuna umbulala because akangombulali yena ebethunyiwe ukuthi makambulale but uyambona ukuthi ungudriver yena uyambona ukuthi lo mntana akakho kwi-condition right. Makathunyelwe 200.
So this person says he was just a driver, he doesn't kill anyone, but if the family could send 200 rand.
For petrol.
So that he can bring the boy.
So that he can bring the boy.
And then what happened, Feziwe?
Waya a police station, wayobabonisa a police station as WhatsApp no unazika messages. But the police station no angayifaka usisi zizikema abantu bazaskema uma ngabe uzofaka lo 200 rand kuzathi makafake i400 nama1000 so usisi ka akazangayifake lo mali leyo.
So the police said don't send the money, this could be a scam. Just be careful, people scam people like this all the time. And then what happened, Feziwe?
And then bona bazotrace bengamaphodisa inamba.
So the police said they'll trace the number. And did they?
So, we don't know. We don't know.
Okay.
Okay, lo muntu lona uthe mayiqeda lapho. Wasenda i-account number.
So they wanted they firstly wanted this 200 rand via their phone number. Then they sent an account number.
Account number ngoba usicela account number wathi ngizoyithumela phi le mali wamnikeza account number.
Feziwe, here's the tough question. When did you find Sanel?
Sifumene Sanel on Thursday afternoon round about 4.
A week later you found him.
A week later on the 8th day.
How was he?
Mina ngesaba ukuthi ngihambe ngiyombona. But ngoba bese sikhathele la endlini inhliziyo zethu isikhathele besilele that day isisi week esingafuni nomuntu ongenayo egate.
Yeah. So you
And
say
then,
you got to the point where you were tired, you were scared, you didn't go yourself.
And then bekho abantu abakokothayo bathi kunomuntu ofumanekile ngapha ya. Ngathi mina angibonisa le photo ngathi mina hayi ayingosanele lo.
Wow.
And
So
then
hold on, Feziwe. People came to the house to say they
Yes,
found
but
this body.
I didn't allow them to come inside the yard. I was with them outside. There were 2 ladies who came, but bazobonisa esisithombe.
So they had a photograph. So they had a photograph. And they said it was Sanel. And you said, hold on, Feziwe, hold on. They had a photograph and they said it was Sanel. And you didn't recognize the photograph they were showing you. It didn't look like Sanel to you.
I didn't recognize anything. I said it wasn't him.
Why?
That because it was like it was like umuntu omdala olile ongumama ngathi hayi man lo muntu ngumuntu ongumama lona ngumuntu omdala and ngathi yazi kaze ngingabonakala ukuthi nguye uyabona uma ngibuya ke la endlini kwabe sekhala ifoni asika kukho le message ithi community WhatsApp igroup WhatsApp yomphakathi isithi kunomntwana abamtholayo eMka Point lapho usanele bethanda udlalela ngakhona.
All right, so after these people came with the photograph, you got another call from the community group, and they said they had found him.
But kunomntwana ofunyenwe, even but it was ibe message ye WhatsApp message ye group yomphakathi.
A child had been found, and was it him?
Kunomntwana ofumaneke eMka Point ngase.
Yes. And Fezwe, was it him?
It was him.
How was he when you found him, when they found him?
Yo, abantu bebefutshane akekho umuntu bengakhali.
Everyone who saw him was crying.
Everyone was crying. Engekho uthi number 1 ebedumbile, number 2 ebechile, number 3 ingalo yakhe yase right ibiyophukile, number 4 ebehamba ngaze engancibanga bamshiye ngezicathulo kuphela.
All right, let me just translate that. His body was swollen, he was burnt, his right arm, you say, was broken.
Yes.
And he was completely undressed.
Yes.
No clothes on him except for his shoes.
Yes.
Do you know who did this, Feziwe?
We don't know. As that.
And what do the police say now?
Amapolisa because ebe safika ekhona laphayana. Abantu yazi ukuthi abantu bakhuluma kakhulu ngathi mina bekutheni into bazomlahlela kwindawo entaka so ngathi inoba bafuna amchisi ngathi inoba bafuna ulahla i-fingerprints into esizikhulumelayo ngithi siyakhuluma yonke into kanti kunepolice elilapha around lathi lepolice no we cannot say uchile because indawo alahlo kuyo indawo ene toilet and i-toilet iyathanda ukuthi yenze umuntu ache. So into ayithethile lela police ukuthi angeke sitsho ukuthi uchile because i-toilet iyenza ukuthi umuntu ngathi uchile.
So hold on, Feziwe, let me explain. So you suspected that his body had been burnt, but the police said he was basically dumped in a place where there was sewage, and sometimes that can make a body appear burnt. We have to end our conversation now, Feziwe. I just want to ask from you, what are you as a family looking for now? What do you need now?
We need justice. Ufuna justice ngomntana wethu. Ufuna abenzi bobubi. Ene bavalele unaphakade. Because it's not for the first time lento isenzeka. Nakwicase yokuqala abantwana ababhubhayo ngecar accident. Akuzange yaphelela emoyeni case 18 years back asazi ukuthi kwenzekalani kodwa abantwana bakabhuti wami balele emangcwabeni.
Oh man, Feziwe, my heart goes out to you and your family. I can hear your sister in the background explaining the details, giving you some of the information that perhaps you may not have firsthand. We will certainly alert the authorities to your plight. Maybe we can get a response. Maybe we can get some answers for you as a family. She says that they want justice. They want justice for their child who was killed in quite clearly a brutal way. And they don't have answers, and the police have yet to give them the answers. We certainly want to commit on this program to find some for them.
EWN EWN Business.
Understandably, we are a bit delayed on the business news. I apologize for that. Muteo Haripe, what are your indicators showing you?
Bongani, the market's a sign of the times. The rand at 16 rand 85 against the US dollar. It's down close to 2% this morning. 19 rand 42 against the euro and 22 rand 42 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $5,090 an ounce, or platinum is down more than 1% at $2,117. Brent crude up close to 25% now at $115 an ounce. More business after 8 o'clock.
Again, we apologize for the delay in bringing you the latest eyewitness news. Good morning again, Sfisa Zulu.
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. 5 people have died and 60 others injured in a crash in East London. The Provincial Transport Department says a VW Polo and a bus collided on the N6 last night. The bus was carrying 60 Zimbabwean nationals who've all been hospitalized with varying injuries. Transport Department spokesperson Makhanya Komisa.
The case of culpable homicide and reckless driving has been opened at Stutterham Police Station. Transport and Community Safety MEC Xolile Ngata has conveyed his heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families and wishes the injured passengers speedy recovery. The MEC has urged motorists to obey the rules of the road.
Law enforcement authorities on the East Rand have stepped up action against illegal street trading in Benoni and Wattville. Ekurhuleni Metro Police confiscated goods from traders operating illegally or outside their permit conditions during the weekend. EMPD spokesperson Deliwe Ndlovu says the bylaws compliance will continue carrying out similar operations.
The main focus of the operation was on unregistered traders operating at night and those who have permits but are not trading in line with what is stipulated on their permits. The bylaw compliance unit will continue with the similar operations to ensure that the city of Ekurhuleni stays safe and clean and that everyone abides by the rules of the law.
People heading to the Western Cape are being warned to prepare for a heat wave this week. The South African Weather Service has issued a heat advisory for the city of Cape Town and surrounding areas. Temperatures are expected to reach an average of 30 degrees Celsius today and every day of the week. The City of Cape Town Disaster Risk Management Centre spokesperson Sonika Lategan says children, the elderly and pets are most at risk from this week's heat wave.
Where possible, stay out of direct sunlight, drink plenty of water, use sunscreen and wear a wide-brimmed hat when out and about. Also, wear light clothing and seek out shaded areas or areas with air conditioning.
And Hezbollah says it is engaging Israeli forces who landed in eastern Lebanon by helicopter across the Syrian border. This is the second such operation since the outbreak of the latest conflict with Israel. Lebanon was drawn into the Middle East war last week when Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah attacked Israel in response to the killing of Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah al-Khamenei during US-Israeli strikes. Israel, which has kept up strikes targeting Hezbollah despite a 2024 ceasefire, launched multiple waves of strikes last week across Lebanon and sent ground troops into border areas. Lebanon's health minister says Israeli strikes on Lebanon have killed 394 people over the past week, including 83 children and 42 women. Israel's military said that 2 of its soldiers were killed in combat in southern Lebanon, the first fatalities among its forces since the latest offensive began on the 2nd of March. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures are at lows of 11 and 12 degrees, peaking at highs between 22 and 25.
And in the traffic, we've got delays along the N3 North. An accident reported right near the Geldenes interchange. Delays coming out of the Yelands interchange. There's also queuing traffic on the N1 North. Remember that accident we spoke about earlier right near the New Canada Bridge. It's been cleared, but traffic remains very slow coming out of the Diepkloof interchange.
The top story this hour, 5 people have died and 60 others injured in a crash in East London.
So you thought you were building a business in this economy, but day by day, somehow it grew. You kept going when the freezer didn't freeze, the bucket didn't budge, and the bank balance barely blinked. So you thought you were building a business. You weren't. It was building you. Because this isn't just what you do anymore, it's who you are, and you don't trust just anybody to protect it. Chat to your broker about Old Mutual Insure Business Insurance. Protect what built you. Old Mutual Insure Limited is a licensed FSP and non-life insurer.
For over 30 years, Bid Air Cargo has been keeping South Africa's supply chain moving, giving our economy the dedicated cargo capacity it needs. Whether it's really, really urgent, oversized, or hazardous, when a shipment has to fly, we make it happen. Linking all major airports with reliable freighter services, our promise delivers. Bid Air Cargo. Every kilo counts.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
Western Cape High Court ruling that the finance minister cannot unilaterally change the rate of VAT.
Because VAT affects each and every one of us in this country, it is very important, or at least the court is of the view that it is very important that it follows the legislative process. So there's a level of conversation in Parliament, the debate, is this something that should be passed?
Michaela Pascini at Tax Consulting SA.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show, Stephen Curtis, is brought to you by ABSA Corporate and Investment Banking. Trade powers Africa's growth, and businesses that succeed are those able to manage risk, optimize liquidity, and move confidently across markets. ABSA Corporate and Investment Banking helps enable your trade flows for growth. ABSA is a registered FSP. T's and C's apply.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Bongani. I am a 40-year-old man with a child who has special needs. I can't remember the last time I cried. But listening to Zanele's story, I couldn't hold myself. I had to lock myself up in the bathroom and cried.
Good morning, Bongani. What a very sad story, man. What a very sad story. Yo, that's so sad, man. You know, Bongani, I will keep saying this thing. South Africa is not a normal country as far as crime is concerned. And the way we are dealing with crime as if we are a normal country. As if we've got better levels of crimes.
This story is harrowing, and part of the reason we had to tell you the story, firstly to get justice for this little boy. Mark Hayward, the veteran activist, was the one who told me about this family and their plight, and we said we'll put it on the radio. We're already receiving offers to try and investigate and figure out what happened here. People in the security industry, people who work with the police, who work on these kinds of cases, are coming forward, offering assistance. And that's really the point. The point is we want to get to the bottom of this and to figure out what went wrong and who could have done something so obviously evil, and to help the family. We'll give you feedback as the story develops.
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by Outsurance. It's your chance to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. First, 1,000 Rand for the answer, and then a little later, 2,000 Rand if you can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask Outsurance for 500 Rand. Patricia has today's answer. Patricia, good morning. What is today's answer, please?
Good morning, Bongani. It's shallow.
Shallow is today's answer. Shallow is today's answer. Thank you, Patricia. Are you a member of Outsurance? Have you got yourself a quote?
I've been a member for a...
You've been a member?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
We're losing your signal there, Patricia. 1,000 Rand then will certainly come your way, all thanks to Outsurance and 702. She is a member of Outsurance, she says. She's given us the answer, shallow. What's the question? Call us if you know on 011 8830 702. And no, the question is not the opposite of deep. What's the question? The answer is shallow.
EWN Sport.
Anthony Teixeira joins us, standing in for Cindy Paluta, who is out for the day. Anthony, let's start with rugby.
Yeah, good morning, Bongani. We will start with the Blitzbox as they head into next week's final round of the 7 Series, level at the top of the table with Fiji. South Africans were unstoppable this weekend as they acclaimed the Vancouver Sevens title and went unbeaten. Devastating form in that final as they won 38-12 against Spain. Tristan Lade's player of the match there. While we had Coach Philip Snyman crediting the winning momentum on the focus that they've put in on the training field.
We hard on ourselves, and I told the guys before the time, if you're going to make mistakes, let's make aggressive mistakes, and I think that's what they did. If there were mistakes, they did it flat out, and overall I think we can't fault them with the performance or the effort they put on the field.
Cricket history made as India became the first team to successfully defend the men's T20 World Cup and the first one to win the title on home soil, thanks to an impressive 96-run victory over New Zealand in one of the most destructive innings we've seen in recent memory. Sanju Samson smashed 89 with quick-fire half-centuries from Sharma and Kishan, which saw the hosts post 255 for 5. The Black Caps never really gained momentum as they lost Allen, Ravindra and Phillips inside the power play and eventually were all out for 159 in that chase. In football, Nedbank Cup quarterfinals had just one Premiership team beating lower league opposition. That was TS Galaxy Sunday 2-0 over Jaxa Spears. What we saw on Saturday was Amazulu and Sekhukhune United dumped out by Castrick Stars and Milford. Meanwhile, Durban City are the fourth team there as they won the shootout 5-4 over Golden Arrows. Just one match left in the FA Cup fifth round. That's West Ham against Brentford this evening. Sunday, Leeds beat Norwich 3-0. Southampton won 1-0 over Fulham. And League One side Port Vale stunned Premier League team Sunderland 1-0. And in tennis, Victoria Mboko, Jasmine Paolini and women's world number 1 Arina Sabalenka all advanced to the round of 16 at Indian Wells, while Amanda Anisimova overcame Emma Raducanu 6-1, 6-1. In the men's draw, we saw Yannick Sinner, Arthur Fields, Francis Tiafoe and Felix Olga Aliassime all pick up a round of 32 victories. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic brought to you by Persia. Pretty tough. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we've got queuing traffic along the N3 North. This is between the Fort Ricker Road split on the N12 towards the Geldenhuys interchange. If you're heading towards Germiston via the M2 West, also expect delays. This is just as you approach Refinery Road while traveling on the N12 as well as the R24 West, bumper-to-bumper traffic there. This is peak time delays. This is between Edenville Road and the Kilulis interchange. While in the city of Tshwane, we still have got queuing traffic reported on the N1 South. This is between the Brockfontein interchange and Oliphants-Fontaine Road. There's also queuing traffic on the R80 Mabopane Highway just as you approach the Skiampahlele exit. That's in the Mountain View area. And then if you are traveling on the N14 North, we've got some issues just as you approach Eupheus Road. Please be on the lookout there. Eupheus Road in itself is backed up between the R101 and the N14. And then, of course, in the Arini area, there's queuing traffic along the intersection of Nelmay Pierce Drive and the main road exit. So please approach with care and be on the lookout for other motor vehicles. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
When your business needs strength, reliability, and serious capability, look no further than the Persia Professional Pickup Range. Built tough for South African conditions, Persia pickups are engineered for fleets, professionals, and the agricultural heroes who keep this country moving. From rugged load capacity to fuel-efficient performance, these pickups work as hard as you do. Whether you're building, delivering, or farming, Persia has a model that's ready for the job. Visit your nearest Persia dealership today and power your business with the confidence of Persia Professional. Landtrek, it's pretty but tough.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance, please tell me what's the question. If the answer is shallow, let's go to Thabo in Roodepoort. Thabo, what's the question?
What is the name of the Lady Gaga featuring Bradley Cooper song which topped the US charts on this day in 2019?
Yes, indeed. It was from, of course, that fantastic movie recreating the original Barbara Streisand and Robert Redford roles from A Star Is Born. That is indeed the question. Thabo, 2,000 Rand in cash is coming your way, all thanks to Outsurance and 702. The multi-talented Bradley Cooper. Who knew he could sing so well?
Tell me something, boy. Aren't you tired trying to fill that void? Or do you need more? Ain't it hard keeping it so hardcore? I'm falling. In all the good times I find myself longing for change. And in the bad times I fear myself. I'm of the deep end, watch as I dive in. I'll never leave the ground. Crash through the surface when they can't hurt us. We're far from the shallow now. In the shallow.
You ever want to see two people with chemistry on screen? It's these two, Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. I think there was even a rumor at some point that they might be a romantic item. A rumor they've both dispelled, saying they're just professionals with each other. I mean, listen to this part. Go back and watch the 2019 Oscar Awards performance with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga performing Shallow. Go watch the movie. Oh.
Want to know how much money Outsurance saves 35-year-old Zanele on her car insurance?
A whopping 1,180 Rand.
That's an incredible 1,180 Rand monthly saving on Zanele's 2017 Mercedes-Benz GLA. And the out bonus she'll get?
It is close to 6,500 Rand in 3 years if I'm claim-free.
Nice. How much money could Outsurance save you? SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
In business, the right connections change everything. It's the stability you need for that once-in-a-lifetime virtual pitch, the lightning-fast speeds that keep you ahead of deadlines, and the consistent, high-quality signal your teams rely on every day. Because when your connectivity works seamlessly, so does your business. Power your workday with fast, reliable fiber from OpenServe, built to keep your operations running at full speed. Visit openserve.co.za today to learn more. T's and C's apply.
The team's on a roll today. Let me focus on payroll. Duty calls in the kitchen. That's why I have a business insurer that is agile and on the ball all the time on all things. I chose My Way Business Insurance, getting 24/7 emergency service and saving on my premiums, plus my business assist to handle my admin.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
702
702. What's gone viral?
with Kabazela.
Time now for the world of viral content. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Bella.
Let's talk about, are you impressed?
Are you impressed, my son or my daughter? And I guarantee you they'll look at you with a very unimpressed face sometimes. So this video we're talking about is a father, a son, mother, and daughter. They're sitting in the lounge. And on the TV screen, the dad decided to show a rap music video that he was once in, and he was rapping from many, many years ago, before the son and the daughter were even but a thought. And the reactions are very, very funny. So you see the daughter, she's looking at this TV screen thinking, what am I watching here? What is this man doing? The wife is like, she doesn't really know what to say. But then the son, he's loving it. He's dancing to his dad's song in the video, and he's like really hyping him up. So he really loved it. He was a big fan. And so it got me thinking about things your parents did before you were even around. And then later on, when you were of a certain age, they kind of said to you, well, look, I did this one day before you were around. And they either told you the story or they showed you the evidence. And how did you take it? So last week we had Benny McCarthy on the John Perlman show because of his book that came out called Benny. And John asked him a question about the music video Shibobo, where he raps in that video. And Benny said he showed his kids the part where he comes on, and they were just so not impressed. They were just like, really? Oh, okay, that's all right. Because to them, he's just dad, right? So let's put it out there. What did you find out about your parents that they did before you came along, and then, they told you the story, and were you impressed or unimpressed?
Right, something they did before you were around, before you were born, and were you impressed or did you want to hide based on what they used to get up to? I used to feel guilty about buying myself DVDs, especially of live music performances. That was my guilty pleasure. Now I'm a very disciplined boy.
I'm sure you are. And perhaps that money goes elsewhere now. So the psychology of money is an interesting one, Bongles, when, sometimes we'll spend money and we'll buy something. It could often be our guilty pleasures. And then afterwards we're thinking, I don't know if I should be spending this money. And then you maybe kind of rationalize it to yourself and think it's fine. So this woman posted a video on TikTok where she loves to buy iced coffees. And she said, often she'll feel guilty about buying the iced coffee. And, it's a pretty plain video. There's nothing to look at, but it's 3 million views and so many comments on it. So people resonate about buying things for themselves and feeling guilty. So number one, what is your guilty pleasure? What do you love to buy that's a guilty pleasure for you? And do you feel guilty spending money on yourself?
Yeah, I do.
I do too.
I think especially when you're a parent and there's so many needs, or when you've got a couple of people who depend on you, you always want to prioritize other people first. And so even when you do get yourself a little something, you think, oh gosh, certainly I can relate to that. Let's put it out there to 702 Land. What's your guilty pleasure? And when you spoil yourself, do you feel guilty? Do you sometimes think, oh, maybe I shouldn't, but you do it anyway? I'd love to know.
702
Feedback
with Siamtanda Matiso.
Siamtanda Matiso,
Good morning.
how often do you spoil yourself?
Too much. I was just telling the team that I'm an overspender, like imali yandichisa. In other words, like if I see it, I want to spend it. Lately, I've been spending it on cakes, cream buns from Pick and Pay. I just have to avoid Pick and Pay by all means, or else I'm going to buy something.
Maybe we should talk to the folks at Pick and Pay.
Maybe
to bring cream buns for you.
Please,
Not to stop making them.
We'll go broke. Bongs, he started off the morning with a bit of a tragic news with that After 7 interview you had on Sanel, who's 12 years old, had special needs, went missing after 8 days, was found dead. Listen, many listeners have been crying. They feel for the family. They are demanding justice for the family. But there's another concern that is coming up when it comes to the listeners, and it comes to when kids going to play outside. Now they're like, should I be guarding my child when they're playing outside? Should I call that parent that I know my child is playing at and say, listen, keep an eye on my kid? Like, how do we do this? Because now corruption and crime is becoming a big thing in South Africa.
Look, there are obviously unique circumstances to this particular story. And as I said earlier, we have friends of the show who work in the security industry who are listening, who are going to help us, or at least help the police to try to get to the bottom of this. But it's a very tricky one to figure out. I mean, if you live in a complex, right, and your child is going to play outside, and you don't know which unit with which child, who is in that house. One of the things I used to say to my kids growing up, even if I know the parents or the family, I don't know the people that are visiting there. I don't know the uncle who is in that house. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think these are the questions of modern parenting that people have to grapple with.
I feel sad for this generation though, because I mean, listen, I used
Yeah.
to play freely. I just knew what time to get home.
My daughter she just turned 17. She's always played by appointment. The concept of going to play next door, or they're just busy in the street somewhere. It's one, she won't tell that story about her childhood.
This is EWN.
A services seater sparks outrage after spending millions for empty offices, and G7 leaders will meet over concerns about oil prices amid Middle East war. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The Education, Training and Development Practices SETA has come under fire after allegations of a 15 million rand tender scandal. An office space which has not been used for more than a year is at the center of the saga. It's understood the tender was granted despite an occupancy paper that was supposed to be submitted during the procurement process. Higher Education Minister Putimana Mela has launched an investigation. Jabuli Lembata reports.
In 2024, the Education, Training and Development Practices SETA put out a tender for an office space. The SETA oversees training in schools, universities and community centers. The winning candidate of the tender was found to have missing documents, including an occupancy certificate, which is required to state that the building is safe, has fire precautions and that it is structurally sound. The staff members were unable to make use of the office, while rent of 15 million rand was somehow spent by the SETA. When an internal investigation into the tender process began, it alleged its acting CEO Nogukanya Mafahla stopped the probe. Higher Education Minister Putimana Mela says the allegations raise concerns of governance, building compliance and the implications for misuse of public funds. Jabuli Lembata, Eyewitness News.
Government says there's no need to recall any sanitary products as they do not pose a health risk. Speaking at a press conference in Pretoria, Health Minister Arun Motsoaledi says the trace chemicals found in some of the products are not dangerous. A study by the University of the Free State found some small amounts of endocrine disrupting chemicals, including in 16 sanitary products. Motsoaledi says while these chemicals can mimic hormones in the body's endocrine system, current evidence indicates no immediate risk for users.
Endocrine disrupting chemicals cannot be completely avoided or removed. None of the tested products warrants withdrawal from the market, and that no evidence at present to support change of usual practice by users.
Motsoaledi emphasizes that the chemicals are common in everyday environments, with many exposures coming from food, dust, cleaning products and other personal care items.
They are ever present in low concentrations, in various foodstuffs, in household products, in personal care and beauty products, cosmetics, toothpaste, shampoo, body lotions, lipsticks, which many of you are wearing today, clothing, which all of us are wearing, electronics, which many of you are carrying. They are widely used in agriculture as pesticides.
Western Cape High Court Judge Daniel Tulare says he has not received a notice to vacate the state-owned house he lives in. The Department of Public Works and Infrastructure yesterday confirmed a notice to vacate the state-owned property in Cape Town was issued to a High Court judge. Tulare was occupying the 4-bedroom property for several years and paying a subsidized rental of 900 Rand a month. The judge was allowed to live in the home during his previous role as Chief Magistrate of Cape Town, but his lease expired in October 2018 and was never renewed. Carlo Peterson reports.
DA NCOP member on Security and Justice Nicholas Kotzal says when Tulare was appointed to the High Court bench in 2022, his eligibility for state housing fell away.
The DA welcomes Minister McPherson's action to evict Judge Daniel Tulare of the Western Cape High Court from unlawfully occupying a state house. Judge Tulare has occupied this house for the past 4 years since he became a judge, a benefit that he is not entitled to.
Tulare yesterday told EWN he learned from the media about the notice and he has not yet received it and doesn't know who issued it. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And France will host a video meeting with G7 finance ministers today to discuss the Middle East crisis. The war that sparked by the US-Israeli bombing of Iran launched last month triggered a spike in crude oil and natural gas prices and a sharp fall in stock markets, particularly in Europe and Asia. The talks will address the question of Iran's blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, which separates Iran from the United Arab Emirates and is a key route for maritime trade. Nearly 20% of the world's crude oil and about 20% of liquefied natural gas usually transit through the key shipping lane. The leaders fear a resurgence of inflation similar to the rise in prices triggered by Russia's full-scale invasion on Ukraine. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has told NBC News that they have the right to defend themselves.
It is Americans who started this war against us, attacking us, and we are defending ourselves. So it is obvious that our missiles cannot reach the US soil. What we can do is to attack American bases and American installations around us, which are unfortunately in the soils of our, neighborly countries.
Gold is trading at $5,131.25 an ounce. The rand is at 16.81 to the dollar, 22.41 to the pound, 19.44 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $115.39 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North in the Germiston area. There's a car stuck on the road right between the Elands turnoff and the Geldenis interchange while traveling. In the same area, we've got roadworks taking place on the N17 East. This is between Roundabout Road, Osborne Road and Heidelberg Road, causing delays.
And in your sport, the Blitzboks pick up a third win of the 7 series as they lift the Vancouver title, while India become the first team to successfully defend the men's T20 World Cup title and to win on home soil. And just the one FA Cup match left in the 5th round, that's West Ham against Brentford this evening.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 22 and 25 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, the Education, Training and Development Practices SETA has come under fire after allegations of a 15 million rand tender scandal.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes after 8 o'clock, we will keep you updated with any developments that may come in the search for justice for that family in Orange Farm. There's also a piece written by Mark Hayward in the Daily Maverick and get more details about that story. That came out this morning, and so we're trying to get as much attention to this as possible. I mean, that kind of thing just ought not to happen. Not for 200 rand, surely. I mean, not that there's ever an amount for which it should, but certainly not for 200 rand. Kabazela, what's gone viral, wants to know, what's your guilty pleasure? Do you treat yourself often? And when you do, what is it? Is it a pair of shoes? And do you hide them sometimes, even from your partner? Muteo, I know it's vinyls. For you, do not even lie. T-shirts? Caps?
Yeah, I think I've spent more on music than clothes though for the past few months.
But a good quality T-shirt.
Yes.
What brand is that you're wearing now?
I can't really see. I can't really see.
He doesn't buy them from Pick and Pay Clothing, I can tell you that for sure. Caps, T-shirts and vinyls. Amo? Bags?
Correct.
I know you guys, eh?
Mm-hmm. That's one. I'll give you one.
Shoes.
No.
Sweet things.
Sweet things and earrings.
Earrings.
Yes, earrings. For sure.
But I try to limit on the sweet things. So if I buy a slab of chocolate, I would make sure that I share it with someone to ease the guilty.
But you bought it.
Yes, but I shared it.
She gives you that last little corner piece.
Corner slab.
Just to make sure she can say, I shared it with. Right? What's your guilty pleasure? Kabazela also wants to know, what are those things you found out about your parents that they used to do before you were even around? And Are you impressed by that? Or do you want to hang your head in shame? Babalo has phoned in Joburg. You want to respond to our big interview this morning?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Awful story, Babalo. I'm okay. I'm a little shaken, but I'm okay. How are you?
I actually, the reason I was calling was just to say to you how you handled that whole conversation. It was very beautiful, Bongani. Well done, put.
Yeah, it was difficult because we work for an English radio station.
Yes, and you have to translate
so
as
we
well.
have to cover everyone, and typically we won't put somebody on the radio that doesn't speak the language because,
Yes.
But at the same time, we can't not tell a story because the person doesn't speak English. So I had to listen and translate at the same time.
Yeah, I love that, Bongani, and you handled it so well. And I spoke to Bapelile. I was like, you know what? This guy has actually done a great job. But now that you were talking about this other issue, what's your pleasures?
Your guilty pleasure, yeah.
Yeah, my pleasure is Man United. Sorry, I don't like Arsenal.
You poor thing. How you have suffered.
Guys, have a good day. I'm watching you on YouTube. Matewa can see you. Amo. KG never says anything.
He just laughs and throws shade behind the scenes. All right, Babalo, thank you for that call. Responding, of course, to that interview just after 7 o'clock, we spoke to the aunt of a 12-year-old boy who was found dead just a couple of weeks ago, having gone missing for a week, and the family are still looking for answers.
Good morning, Bongani. What a harrowing story about this little boy. Bongani, there are a lot of clues, from what happened on this boy, that if we could have a very good investigator, they could actually get to the bottom of what happened. There's a lot of clues from the cell phones, the messages, and all that. What South Africa needs is some good investigative policemen. It looks like our police are failing when it comes to investigating. But please try to get a good private investigator. This can be solved.
Morning, Bongani. Katya from Pretoria. Sad stuff. Wow. I don't know, man. How do we? Angas, which is today. Oh, I'm speechless. This is very sad for the family, sad for everyone. We cannot continue to live like this. I don't know. You are stronger than me as a broadcaster, because I wasn't gonna be able to carry on. This is too sad, man.
Look, part of the difficulty is this little boy had a disability, and it left him unable to speak. And that, of course, delayed some of his development. I understand that he appeared smaller for his age than, his peers would. And so I imagine part of what, any person with a malicious intention would be thinking is that he will be unable to identify his abductors, his attackers. He won't be able to say what happened to him, even if they'd found him alive. I'd imagine that would have played some role as far as this is concerned. But we've got bigger questions to ask of the police around this. The family, for example, said that even though the police promised to help, they even promised a K9 unit. This is when the boy was still missing. They promised a K9 unit to come and search with the dogs. They simply never heard from them. Never heard from them again. So why would this kind of thing not happen in a country that has police responding like that?
Let's talk.
We're listening.
Oh, Bongani and Karazela, if there's one person who judged themselves for buying things for themselves, it's me, and that is coffee. I love coffee, Bongani, and I have over time graduated from drinking the instant coffee to what I will call real coffee, the filtered coffee. And I have the machine, but it's not the same. And I have accepted that this is what I need to do, at least one in the morning every day. And I will spend at least 40 rand, because there is bootleggers now that sells coffee for 30 rand or 29 rand before 8 o'clock. Then it will go to 50 rand. So I make sure I buy it before 8 o'clock. But guess what? My colleagues would not let me be. They will even calculate how much I'm paying for coffee in a year. So yeah, I do judge myself, but I always tell them that, guys, I don't go to a salon. I do my own nails, hands and toes, and then I do my own hair, so I save that money.
Good morning, 702 and the 702 listeners. Listen, I feel guilty. I'm one of those people that feel guilty when they have to spend money on themselves, to a point where my woman would even say to me that, you know what, it's fine, just go out, go do this, go do that, you know what I mean? Maybe you should spend a little bit on yourself, you know what I mean? And well, the one guilty pleasure I do have, I'm a serious gamer. I love gaming. Just yesterday was my birthday, so I bought myself another console. I've got 3 gaming consoles. You know, I've got my Xbox, my Pandora's box, and I've also got my PC. So yeah, that's how it is for me. Guilty pleasure, gaming, and yes, I feel very guilty when I have to spend money on myself. Jeez. Thanks. Masungulu Putiatla.
Good morning, Bongani. This is Kabelo from Pretoria. In my daily work, I have to write stuff. So I still enjoy using the old way of recording stuff using a pen. So I spend a lot of money on pens. I have different and many expensive pens. So that's where I spend most of my money. I always say the day I die, they can take everything else, but they must just bury me with my pens.
Hi, Bongani and team. Yeah, I feel guilty. My guilty pleasure is buying luxury shower gels. I'll buy the household and everybody else in the house your normal off-the-shelf retail shower gels, but mine, they range between 600 to 850. At most 1,002, but I think that's the only time I get to say this is just mine. And yes, by the way, they all know that it's not for everybody's usage.
No, I completely get it. I have a lot of bath lotions, and I always tell myself I'm going to find, a Friday, because for me, a bath is an experience, right? You need that Friday afternoon with jazz playing in the background, and you just take your time and you have a soak. Hey? A good old soak. So I buy all these fancy little things. Ask me how many baths I take a year.
I was about to say, how many times do you use them?
Maybe 2 or 3 times, because I'm a shower person generally. Colin, you're saying there's information that could help us crack this case. Good morning.
Good morning, Bongani. How are you doing? Yes, Bongani, great interview, and, we all work together, and there's a saying that it takes a village to bring up a child, but we as a country, we're not working together to resolve these small cases. They got IME numbers on the phone. You can detect location where that phone was used. The equipment, I understand the police don't have this equipment, right? We're not going to keep on saying, oh, you don't have budget and you're not good police. Why don't we work together as a public partnership? We did it recently with the border management. There was no money asked. We just went as companies to go and help the border there. While you were singing Christmas carols during the Christmas time, we were at the border using our equipment, lending them to see how we could do facial recognition, infrared, detect the people coming. We stopped more than 1,000 people crossing the border. We should do this and help the police. The police must just be open to say, listen here, we don't have the resources. Let public-private companies come together and resolve this. In days, we will be able to resolve these cases.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I was saying earlier that we've already had some positive responses from companies working in the security industry. But Colin, you say we did this. Who's we? Tell us a little bit more about what you do.
We are in the aerospace and defense sector, so we belong to an association called Aerospace, Maritime and Defense. There's over 80 companies that form part of this association, including Denel and Aselsan, Paramount, all these companies. At a certain times, we give back and we say, okay, let's take our vehicles there. Armored vehicles from DCD was there. Crossing, we have amphibious vehicles that can go onto the river. And I mean, it was amazing how everybody came together and worked together. Now, I understand you saying that the security companies coming together, but Bongani, this is the problem. It's ad hoc. We need a proper, well-coordinated thing that works, ongoing. Then these criminals will know that that there's something happening behind the ground, because we know the police don't have the resources to do this. All I'm saying is 702 could be the glue that pulls all this together.
Look, it's a thought. We know what we are good at, and hopefully, if nothing else, we can connect people to find solutions. I'm not sure we would want to take on the responsibility of maintaining such a system, but we can certainly help people come together, those who want to contribute and those who want to help the general public. And maybe there's a way forward there, Colin. Appreciate that call in Centurion. And I think all we try to do at times is be a conduit, right? A connector, where somebody has a problem and maybe somebody in 702 land has some kind of solution. But our primary focus, of course, is to be broadcasters, and that's what we know we are good at. But Colin says maybe not just on an ad hoc basis, maybe on an ongoing basis, there could be a solution around these kinds of issues.
EWN Traffic.
EWN Traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. There are delays in the Germiston area. Amo?
That's correct, Bongani. We've got roadworks that are taking place along the N17 West. This is between Osborne Road and Heidelberg Road, causing heavy traffic volumes. And then if you're traveling along the N3 North towards Bedford View, do expect delays between the Yelans turnoff and the Geldenes interchange. That's due to a car stuck on the road between these 2 points. There's also slow-moving traffic in the Woodmead as well as Santon areas between the McClue interchange and Caller Drive. That's due to peak time delays on the M1 South. Please be on the lookout there. We'll have more traffic updates coming up. You stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like a man wearing his finest suit on his way to an interview. He's prepped 100 times, but he still has butterflies. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's a potential lucky break that could change someone's life. Every story's different, and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005, in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702.
The Worldview.
23 after 8, let's catch up with news from elsewhere in the world. The instability in the Middle East, Vicky Turner in for Adam Gilchrist, that continuing now. And I suppose a new front, Vicky, in Lebanon.
Yeah, the Israelis have been bombing Hezbollah in Lebanon again, killing, they say, over 400 people. It comes as Donald Trump is about to up the ante on Iran. America now says that the skies have been cleared above Iran, meaning that they've destroyed Iranian air forces. It means that they can take away now, America, their jets, their fighter jets, which can only carry 2 or 3 bombs, and bring in the big boys, which landed in the UK actually at the weekend. They're not going to be deployed from the UK because our government hasn't given permission for offensive action to be taken from our air bases, only defensive. So they will move on before they go into the region. But yeah, these aircraft can carry up to 73 bombs. So we are about to see an escalation in the bombing on Iran, especially now as the big development overnight is they've chosen a new leader, and it is the son of Ali Khamenei, who they killed. It's a 56-year-old guy called Mujtaba, who has become the new supreme leader in Iran. And we heard last week, of course, the Israelis saying, if you choose a new leader that we don't approve of, along with the Americans, then we will kill them as soon as possible. So, yeah, it's not a job I'd fancy much. I think this Mujtaba must be in a very safe place because he knows his life is in danger imminently.
It's the law of the jungle, I tell you. Talk to me about the search for Nancy Guthrie. This is the mom of a US TV host.
Yes, Savannah Guthrie, who hosts the Today program in America. Her 84-year-old mum, Nancy Guthrie, vanished on the 31st of January, so over a month ago now. The family believes that she was taken from her bed during the night. And the case, of course, has drawn national attention because of Savannah, basically. People know who she is, so they want to know what's happening. The police have so far received 3,000 odd tip-offs, but no real evidence. All they've got are blood drops found on the doorstep, a masked, gloved man captured briefly on the front door camera. The camera was removed by the suspects, and they've got a few items recovered near the home, including some gloves, but they've produced no conclusive DNA matches, nobody who's on their database. Now, the family, including Savannah, have offered a £1 million reward for more information and the return of her mother, who, like I said, is 84 years old and needs a lot of medication. But nothing so far. It's gone very quiet. The only place it isn't quiet is online, with the online detectives who are coming up with extensive theories, including one that maybe siblings are involved, and there's no evidence to support this at all, of Savannah's, to get money from her because she's the rich one on the family. But this is how online works now, isn't it? We get lots of weird sort of theories thrown out there with very little evidence.
Now, from really important stuff to even more important questions in this world and in this life, Vicky, how do you store your pots?
You see, this is really important to me because I'm just having my kitchen redesigned after moving into a house that was owned by a very old lady. So it's a very old kitchen. And this has thrown my plans into chaos. We're being told you're not to stack your pans on top of each other, which I think everyone does because there's such a lack of room in most kitchens. Don't put them inside each other. We all do that, don't we? The smallest in the top and then it goes down inside. Nope, that ruins your pans. It warps them, it scratches them. You're never going to have the same pan that you had when you first bought it. So the experts are saying, if you've got the room, either wall hang them, so hang them on your wall separately, or place them in cupboards or drawers separately. I was thinking, where the hell can I hang mine? And the only place I can think of is where I hang my coats. So it's not going to look very aesthetically pleasing, I don't think.
Or imagine the smell on your coats.
Oh, God, yes.
Vicky Turner with this morning's Worldview.
EWN Business.
27 after 8. Mateo, let's talk now about what happens next in South Africa. We're keeping an eye on energy prices. The Reserve Bank saying they are now going to have to make all kinds of different calculations.
Yeah, the South African Central Bank says it will redraft its risk scenarios for its next monetary policy meeting as the widening Middle East conflict pushes up oil prices. The central bank is scheduled to decide on the next interest rate number on the 26th of March. Governor Lesetja Kganyago says in the January meeting, the SARB had a more optimistic scenario. He says the previous worst-case scenario assumed the average oil price for the year would reach $75 a barrel, and the rand would weaken by 18 rand 50 to the dollar. But things have changed drastically since then. The Brent crude price is now above $100 a barrel, with the rand weakening by more than 4% just last week. Kganyago says a 10% move in the exchange rate would have a much stronger impact on inflation in South Africa. Now, G7 finance ministers and central bank governors are set to convene this week for a key meeting as diplomatic tensions escalate over the Iran conflict.
Can you imagine the officials working at Treasury, right? When did the finance minister give the budget speech? Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, just 2 weeks ago.
All of those calculations have been completely
all the things
thrown
that were
out.
priced in, just like the SARB in Jan saying the oil barrel will be $75. Worst case scenario.
Worst case
we're
scenario.
above $100
Wow,
now.
yeah, and climbing, right? Sanel expecting earnings to drop quite significantly.
Yeah, that's between 15 and 25% due to corporate activity and negative investment at the company. The group share price dropping by 5% on Friday to just 95 Rand a share. Despite this, new business volumes recorded an 18% year-on-year growth, while a life new business at Sanlam went up by 10%. The insurance company benefited from positive contributions from general insurance, investment management, as well as restructuring of its business. Looking at the markets, the rand now at 16 rand 80 against the US dollar, down 1.5%, closer to that 17 rand mark, at 19 rand 42 against the euro, and at 22 rand 39 cents against the British pound. Price of gold in the red at $5,129 an ounce, or platinum is also lower at $2,138. Brent crude now at $107 a barrel. It's up 15% at this hour. More business from Stephen Grotes later this afternoon.
Exactly 8:30, time for your latest eyewitness news. And of course, coming up in this next half an hour, we speak to Zanele Muholi, who's just won a massive, massive award. Sfisa Zulu, what do you have?
Morning. Cape Town police have this morning arrested 5 suspects allegedly linked to the mass shooting in Marikana informal settlement in Philippi East. 3 men and a woman were shot and killed, and another woman fled the scene after being wounded in the attack on Saturday. Police reports indicate that the gunman entered the Disa Road premises at night and fired several shots. Police spokesperson Novela Potelwa says the suspects are aged between 25 and 35.
The suspects were found with 2 firearms that will be tested if they were used in the commission of the crimes. That happened on Saturday evening.
5 people have died and 60 others injured in a crash in East London. The Provincial Transport Department says a VW Polo and a bus collided on the N6 last night. The bus was carrying 60 Zimbabwean nationals who have all been hospitalized with varying injuries. Transport Department spokesperson Makaya Komisa.
The case of culpable homicide and reckless driving has been opened at Stutterham Police Station. Transport and Community Safety MEC Xolile Ngata has conveyed his heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families and wishes the injured passengers speedy recovery. The MEC has urged motorists to obey the rules of the road.
The Progressive Women's Movement of South Africa has called on government, industry and labour as well as civil society to stop the erosion of women's livelihoods. The organisation marked International Women's Day yesterday by raising concern about the high rate of retrenchments for women working in heavy industries, including manufacturing and mining. The movement says this deepens inequality and increases the risks of gender-based violence. Its CEO, Lulama Nare, says skilled women are a national asset.
Losing them to retrenchments is a blow to families, communities, and the economy. PWMSA calls for urgent partnerships, resources, and programs that protect livelihoods and create pathways to sustainable work for women.
And drone strikes in Sudan have killed 33 people on markets in paramilitary-controlled towns in the Kordofan region, while a strike in Darfur resulted in a raging oil fire. 2 of the attacks were on small towns in West Kordofan state, part of the resource-rich Kordofan region, currently the battlefront in the nearly 3-year war between Sudan's army and the paramilitary rapid support forces. Since war broke out in April 2023, both sides have been accused of war crimes, including targeting civilians and shelling residential areas. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 22 and 25.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the M1 South between the Baklu interchange and Caller Drive. Roadworks are taking place right near Caller Drive exit. Do expect about a 15-minute hold up there. While travelling in Bryanston, we've got delays on the N1 South towards Winnie Mandela Drive.
The top story this hour, Cape Town police have this morning arrested 5 suspects allegedly linked to a mass shooting in Philippi East.
In business, sustainability should share dividends with more than just shareholders. Let's make ROI include a return on integrity.
Get financial solutions for environmental and social impact. With RMB, sustainability yields more than good intentions. Trees and C's apply. RMB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider.
Every bunny needs a holiday. And with FlySafair's affordable fares, there's no excuse not to go. That's right. If there's one hunt worth taking seriously this Easter, it's the hunt for a great fare. That's where our low fare finder comes in. Simply enter your destination and your travel month, and you'll quickly be able to pinpoint the cheapest days to fly. Head to flysafair.co.za and use our low fare finder to lock down those Easter flights now. FlySafair, for the love of flying.
Imagine a holiday where the only thing on the to-do list is to enjoy yourself. With NCL, world-class dining, award-winning entertainment and a variety of onboard experiences come as standard. So enjoying yourself is easy breezy. We sail to over 400 destinations worldwide, including Europe, the Caribbean and beyond. Your dream cruise is calling. Visit ncl.com for the best deals or contact your travel agent today. Conditions apply. Norwegian Cruise Line. It's different out here.
Success isn't always what you see on paper. Sometimes it's those overlooked skills like resilience, empathy, and quiet strength, the one that it takes to show up every single day. In celebration of these invisible success codes that women hold, 702 and Momentum bring you the series edition on 702 Afternoons with Relebogile Mabotja. From parenting and wellness to money matters and mental health, the series edition is a deep dive into the topics shaping your everyday life. Don't miss it, Tuesdays from 1:30 p.m. Brought to you by Momentum. She owns her success on 702.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Bongani. This thing of killing people like flies, it has become so easy just to kill a human being. Because it's like, I don't even know what to say, but it's just continuing. It was those two girls in Everton. Those are my nieces. And then there's a Ngozo guy who is still not found. And then there's this young child. And there's others. There were two ladies who were found in Orange Farm. They were from Smokeng. Luckily, at least they were still alive. Bongan, can the army start in Val? Clearly, we have a serious problem. I'm not saying other places don't have, but can they start a Valinj?
Morning, Bongani. Oh my goodness, just listening to the story, it broke my heart. I have a sister who's now 30 years old who lives with a disability, and we as a family are very protective of her, and I think to a certain extent they're unable to leave and explore because of our fears as a family, because of such things that happen. I mean, if this can happen to ordinary people, what more to those with special needs? This really did break my heart.
Good morning, Bongani and team. Another sad story to start the week. Horrific story. Thank you for listening to the family. And thank you. I know 702 will find answers. I know 702 will do something. You won't just drop it. You won't just drop her. But thank you for listening to her.
Well, you listened to her too, didn't you? Our job is to use our platform to bring about a change, to make a difference in our society, in our city, in our province, in our country. That's what we try to do. And hopefully we really can help this family get to the bottom of what happened to them. Because it's just the kind of story that shouldn't happen. Not anywhere. Not in 2026.
EWN Sport.
The Blitzbox doing really, really well. And of course, this weekend, Anthony Teixeira, we had a whole Cricket World Cup.
We did indeed.
Final.
It was a spectacular final, though.
I saw a quote from the former Pakistani fast bowler, Shoaib Akhtar, saying that India is like that rich kid who says, come over, come play cricket at my house, but just know I'll be the winner.
That's very true.
Just so you're not confused, because they won back-to-back now.
Yeah.
T20 World Cups. There's the ODI World Cup that they're hoping to win.
Which they won.
On.
They've actually won 3 ICC trophies in a row.
Yeah, so, they are that rich kid.
It's a sort of regime that I don't think is going to be knocked off their perch for a long time. The development of the players throughout the IPL has really helped galvanize this team. And
Wow, sensational stuff yesterday.
All right, so we'll stick to rugby, shall we?
We should indeed. As the Blitzboks capped off an unbeaten Vancouver Sevens with a 38-12 win over Spain in the final. They had made their way there with wins in the pool stage over New Zealand, Spain as well, and the Great Britons, while they went into the semi-finals and picked up a victory over Australia, all while making 6 changes to their team that had previously won the 7 series 3 weeks ago. Here's coach Philip Snyman.
We said we want to be more consistent at the beginning of the season, playing in all the semi-finals, and we want to win a back-to-back, and now we have that back-to-back even with 6 changes in the team. So I think a massive squad effort and is really good for Springbok 7.
Final round of the regular season will take place next weekend in New York. In cricket, it was a day of firsts as India became the first men's team to win the T20 World Cup on home soil and also go back-to-back by claiming the title. They posted the highest total in a T20 World Cup final as they scored an extraordinary 255 for 5. Here's their coach, Gautam Gambhir.
Look, I can't ask for more. I played one World Cup at home. That was a 50-over World Cup, and we ended up winning that. I was very fortunate to be part of the winning World Cup team, and then first time at home as a coach, and then winning that as well. And the only way you could do it is when you're putting your team ahead of your own self. And everyone in that dressing room was putting the team ahead of himself. And that is the reason why we could achieve something special like this.
Switching to football now, where the Nedbank Cup semi-final draw is set for this evening. Durban City and TS Galaxy, the remaining top-flight clubs in the competition, and will be in the draw against Casrick Stars and top of the second division, Milford. While in England, we also have the draw of set for the quarterfinals. There's one match left in the FA Cup, a 5th round to be played. That's West Ham hosting Brentford at 9:30. Sunday, we saw 1-0 wins for Southampton and League One side Port Vale, and Leeds sunk Norwich 3-0. We also had victories over the weekend for Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea and Man City. And in tennis, a round of 32 will conclude at Indian Wells. My pick of the round will see a Cam Norrie against 8th seed Alex de Minaur, while Maria Sakkari meets Iga Swiatek. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
18 minutes before 9 o'clock. Let's wrap up the morning's traffic. A busy start to the week, Amo.
Indeed, Bongani, we still have delays reported on the R21 north in the Tembisa area heading towards the city of Tshwane. This is due to roadworks right near Olifantsfontein Road. There's also roadworks causing some issues in Midrand along the N1 south before Olifantsfontein Road as well. Please be on the lookout there while traveling in Germiston. More roadworks causing some issues along the N17 west between Aspen Road and Heidelberg Road. There's also still moving traffic on the N3 north. A car is still stuck on the road just between the 2 points between the Irlands turn off and the Geldenays interchange. And that's your last update for me on breakfast. I'll have more updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Morning, Bongani and team. Charlotte and Rhodopart. I definitely know it's not going to work, whether it's relationship or friendship, by just a normal conversation. I mean, if you just start the chat and you are talking about the war in the Middle East now, and someone is in awe and they look at you with a shock like, what is happening? Then I know it's not going to work. There are some people that are clueless and they're like, they are not living in this world. For me, then I definitely know this is not going to work. Even for a friendship, it is not going to work. Normal conversation, you need to be cleared up with some of the things. Thank you. Happy Monday.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about an extraordinary story that was in the paper yesterday, the Sunday Times. A chap met some young lady at a party and, obviously they thought they were getting on quite well. They decided to spend some time alone together. They booked a hotel room. He goes into the bathroom. When he comes out, his car is gone. His car keys are gone. And then later gets a frantic call. Presumably, she'd rolled the car. No driver's license, hadn't driven before, but thought, oh, I'll take it, I'll go buy cigarettes. It clearly isn't going to work out. But why were they in the hotel in the first place, KG? Eh?
Let's hear from Chantel and Mel, owners of Jelly Body and Nail Studio, why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance.
We were with our previous insurer for about 4 years, and when we decided to switch, it was actually a flawless process. It definitely pays to switch.
For beauty salons, convenience stores, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
I heard she's got a recruiter team working 24/7.
That one, she has a secret supply of talent.
I knew it. She's definitely keeping a secret from us.
Nothing mysterious, guys. It's SA Youth, South Africa's largest youth online recruitment platform. Fast to post, effortless to use, and effective every time.
Recruit on the portal to potential, sayouth.co.za, powering South Africa's youth workforce.
Did you know that you have the power to ensure your daughter is fully protected from cervical cancer when she grows up? Yes, protecting a daughter from cervical cancer is absolutely possible. And all that you need to do is ensure that your daughter gets the HPV vaccine at the age of 9. The HPV vaccine gives your daughter the best possible protection against cervical cancer and can prevent her from becoming part of the statistics. This message is brought to you by the Department of Health.
Coming up on the Clement Manyatela Show
on 702.
Clement Manyatela on your radio between 9 and 12. A very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good weekend?
Yes.
What did you get up to?
I went running on Saturday morning. We're training for comrades, so weekends are long runs for us. So Saturday, Sunday, I was running and I played golf yesterday.
2 cults, eh?
Yeah.
Like running cult and the golfing cult.
Yes.
Did you include those in your series? Remember that series you did on cults and religions?
Maybe I should do season 2.
All right.
What did you get up to?
Nothing.
Yeah?
I cooked. I cooked.
Good.
I made
Nice.
the most amazing lasagna yesterday.
I cooked on Friday too.
Yeah, it was absolutely delicious.
Okay.
And the great part is there's still more. There's leftovers.
Why didn't you bring then? Hey, unjani?
No, I don't want to mess up with your comrades' training, you see.
No, that's carbo loading, you see. Pasta.
People who are running can't eat
No,
lasagna.
people who run must eat pasta. So we call it carbo loading. So bring that.
Wasn't
pasta.
the law of running? What was his name? Professor Tim Noakes. Was it Tim Noakes? There's a book called The Law of Running.
Oh, okay.
Check it out.
What is it about?
It's about running.
Okay. Okay. I'll check it out.
Yeah, you should.
Okay.
I may know about running just because I don't do it. I read about it.
Yeah, sure. Coming up on the show. We're going to start with the 702 open line. Formula One season is back. That's what I did as well yesterday. Watched the Formula One, which was so exciting yesterday.
Who are we rooting for this season?
Of course, Lewis Hamilton, because we want him to get that 8th title officially, quote unquote.
Cindy Palucha, I chatted to her about this just the other day,
Yeah.
and she thinks he's got a good chance this time.
How
did
okay,
it
we'll see.
go? How did it go yesterday?
I mean, he was good. He was much better than last week. He seemed very strong. But then I've learned not to be easily excited with Lewis Hamilton because he has lacked consistency with his progress. So he would be amazing today. Next week he flops. Amazing in three races time. So I'm hoping there's going to be consistency this time.
So there's also a theory that when his love life is sorted, he performs well.
Yeah, but this time he's dating Kim Kardashian. That's a different.
That answers,
a different
that
ball
answers
game
how this season will
together.
go.
So you get a sense. So that's why I'm so anxious. I am very anxious about this season. Anyway, that's on the open line. And then we'll also talk about Patrice Motsepe because he seems to be saying, I'm not running. But there are people investing a lot of money in this campaign. So what's going on?
What did he say? He doesn't even know where they get the money for these keepers.
Yeah. So, but do you think people would invest so much in a campaign that doesn't exist? There's a website.
Where does the money come from?
Exactly.
How many times have politicians said
no,
they're not going to run?
Except he's
and
not a
then
politician.
they run.
Sizabona. And then at 10 o'clock, we're going to focus on the news coming out of Iran. There's now a new supreme leader that has been announced, Saeed Khamenei. So we'll speak to David Smith, who is the Washington bureau chief for The Guardian, about how the Trump administration is responding to this. 10:30, we continue with our series looking at the role of multilateral institutions. We focused on the UN last week. Today, we're going to be discussing the World Bank organization. And then we wrap up the show at 11 o'clock on our Family Matters feature. Today, we're discussing how to enforce chores in the household. How do you go about doing that?
Clement Manyatela between 9 and 12.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
I'm really excited about our next interview because it's an historic moment for South Africa and, of course, the world of photography. Zanele Muholi is a groundbreaking visual activist from Mzansi who has just received the 2026 Hasselblad Award. And it isn't just about, it's not just an award, I would imagine, but I think it really shows a recognition of the work of Zanele Muholi, visibility, resistance, and particularly the celebration of the dignity of Black queer life. Zanele Muholi joins us now on the line, and congratulations. This must really feel good. Zanele, are you there? Just check if you're not on mute, because sometimes that's what we do with Zoom calls. Not on mute? All right, we'll try and get Zanele on. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm trying to yeah, I'm here, but I keep on losing you.
All right. We've got you. We've got you. Can you hear us now?
Yes.
I think the signal. Let's try and get you on the telephone. I think that might work a little better for us. So we're trying to call you.
Yes. I'm good. Let's carry on.
Are you able to hear us now?
I hear you clearly.
All right.
Thank you.
Fantastic stuff. Congratulations on winning this Hasselblad Award.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
What does it mean to you?
It means that the world is hearing us. It means that a lot of new books with new names with us in them, and also the struggle of so many years is heard now. It means it's almost over. And the more we get this recognition, the better, because it's not only for me, it's for the entire community. It's for the Black communities. It's for the Black and queer and trans communities in South Africa, in Africa. Yeah.
Of course, this is an award that is given in Sweden, and it's in recognition of work, particularly when it comes to photography. And it really is given to people who are the most influential photographers working today.
Yeah. It's like the Nobel Prize in the photo world, or in photography, or in the art world. It's a very, very important recognition or award. It's coming to South Africa 20 years later. The first South African to receive this award was David Goldblatt in 2006. And then I became the first Black, queer, gender non-conforming person to receive this. It basically says that the world is hearing us, and it is my wish that South Africa could recognize and respect their own creatives, because they matter and they're doing a great job, and people shouldn't be discriminated or sidelined simply because of telling their truths.
How much is it a full circle moment in a way, because you're saying that the world is hearing us, the world is recognizing the work that you do, the activism you have been a part of through your photography. I want to take you back to more difficult times, perhaps. You'll no doubt recall the reaction of the then Minister of Women, Children and People with Disabilities, Lulu Xingwana, who objected to some of the work that you displayed, calling it immoral, in the early 2010s. Do you remember that difficult moment?
I remember what's need to be known about this incident. It wasn't a solo show. It was a group show in which my work and another artist's work was, questioned or sidelined, or I mean, I don't even know. But nonetheless, what I'm trying to say is, it wasn't a solo show. If it was a solo show, I would have taken it to another level. The saddest part is that, if it's a group show, you'll expect that other women will support you. I was so disappointed by the lack of support from many people who were part of that show. So, which basically says something about us as Black people, about us as human beings in general. So it wasn't my show, it wasn't my solo show. The curator had to say something to make sure that nobody is excluded or sidelined or undermined simply because of what they have produced or created.
Sure.
Yeah.
But with recognition like this, do you think attitudes have changed since those unfortunate days?
A lot has changed because I never stopped showing, and sadly, my work is known abroad, especially in Europe and in America. This work is used by educators and scholars because it's much needed. We need it. We can't pretend as if we do not exist. We can't pretend as if we are not there. We can't closet ourselves, not when we are professionals, not when we are creatives, not when we are taxpayers in South Africa, not when we bring wealth and shine the light to so many people beyond South African borders about what we do and what we're capable of doing. So, in simple terms, this work is about education. In as much as it's in the art world, it is needed in each and every household, whether there's a queer or trans child, it is needed because if there's no trans or relative who feels like us, doesn't mean that, our fellow men and service providers do not provide service to people like me, like you, like many other individuals. So closet is tough at this moment. There's so much going on in the world. We are professionals. We service many people. We deserve respect and recognition.
There's a biblical proverb that speaks about a prophet without honor in their hometown. Have we honored your work enough in your hometown?
I don't know. It's up to South Africans. It's up to Africans. Have we? It's up to those people who make decisions, who call the shots, who decide on who should be included or what not. It's not up to me to respond to that question per se. It's up to those people who are in positions of power, to those who decide that they are living prophets and what's not. Do you understand? Who decide who should be in the, in the house of God and what's not.
No.
So we need to bring forth the change in our country. That's all.
No. I simply meant, do you feel that your work has been recognized sufficiently back here at home in the same way that it is being recognized overseas?
Like I say, I can't tell because I don't know who's looking or who's not looking. But in simple terms, I would say my work is known abroad mostly because they use it for education. It's part of the educational text. It's part of the university text. In that way, it makes me feel better because people are invested in what I do, which then informs a lot of other people who needs it. But at home, I don't know who is like browsing in their closeted spaces, who are maybe like stunned, not sure whether to include it, worried about children and so on and so on. I haven't had much good times at home, but nonetheless, it is home. I belong here. I'm South African and I love this country.
Along with receiving this award, of course, you're going to now also have a major solo exhibition at the Hasselblad Center in Gothenburg in Sweden. This is at the end of this year, going on to 2027. Is that an exhibition you hope to bring back home at some point?
If home is calling for the exhibition, yes, I'll definitely showcase here. But if home doesn't call, then it means that I continue to do what I do overseas or abroad, rather. I haven't had a solo show in one of the major museums in South Africa. Nonetheless, I'm not worried. It doesn't stop me from producing. It doesn't stop me from creating because I'm intentional and I have a vision. And I wish that one day any, queer and trans child is free from any persecution, doesn't need, to stress much, to like maneuver spaces that are meant to be for every child.
Do you think that the corporate sector, private companies have a role in terms of funding this kind of work and making sure it is seen? Or do you think that sometimes museums are not brave enough to show this kind of work?
I think it's very, very important to say, if we say the corporates are human beings, are individuals who are sitting in different boards, yeah? And those individuals, maybe they are related or not related, or connected or not connected. And also the fear of like thinking, if we say that we are funding this, other people might maybe, resign from those boards, etc., etc. But nonetheless, it's the simplest thing to do to say, can we fund or not fund? It's up to them. It's their own money at the end of the day. Most of my projects are self-funded. I never waited for anyone to fund anything of mine because I'll be delayed. I don't want my time to be wasted and be delayed whilst waiting for other people to decide on whether they fund my project or not.
Yeah.
So I'm driven. I do my work. I produce my own content. I get to make sure that I push things for myself to make sense of myself, or else I lose it. I lose myself.
Indeed.
Like right now, there's so much going on. And if we wait for I don't know who, what, when, why, we will never achieve our goals as individuals. Do you understand?
Yep,
Corporate has
absolutely.
a responsibility. They have like a corporate social investment project that they do for different communities. But then it becomes something else when people are excluded or they are told about what project they fund or what's not.
Yeah, can't leave it to somebody else to do. Zanele, congratulations on being the 2026 Hasselblad Award winner.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
And on that note, we'll leave it. The Clement Manyatela Show starts now.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. 9 suspects will appear in the Soshanguve Magistrates Court today in connection with Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. 9 suspects will appear in the Soshanguve Magistrates Court today in connection with the murder of a Tshwane University of Technology lecturer. The group was arrested last month near the South Campus. Police say the man was killed in a mob justice attack after accusations that he raped a child. Chabuli Lembata reports.
Soshanguve police say despite reports of an alleged rape, no such case was opened with officers. On the 24th last month, the lecturer was removed from his home and taken to L Block in Soshanguve, where he was beaten to death.